Confucianism, which has existed for almost 2,500 years, is one of Chinese history's most prominent theological ideas. It is concerned with inner virtue, morality, community, and values of respect. This philosophy has influenced the inhabitants of China in several ways. Did this philosophy contribute to China becoming the world empire we know today? What life lessons has this ancient philosophy instilled in the Chinese people? Let's unravel this ancient history. But before we continue, quickly take a moment to subscribe to our channel and turn on post notifications so you don't miss out on any of our new videos. Before we go in depth about the philosophy, why don't we track back and talk about the reason for the season? The man behind the philosophy itself is known as Confucius. Who exactly is Confucius? Confucius, commonly Latinized as Confucius, was a philosopher and teacher from 551 to 479 BCE. His students recorded his opinions on ethics, ethical behavior, and moral character in various writings, the most notable of which was the Lunyu. Confucianism believes in ancestor worship and human-centered qualities for living a tranquil life. The golden rule of Confucianism is, do not do unto others what you would not want others to do unto you. However, Confucianism did not originate with Confucius. In the same way that the Buddha was the founder of Buddhism and Jesus Christ was the creator of Christianity, Confucius was not the founder of Confucianism. Instead, Confucius saw himself as a transmitter, actively attempting to reanimate the past to achieve the new. He advocated for a ritualized existence to revitalize the significance of history. Confucius's interest in antiquity sprang from a great desire to understand why certain life forms and institutions, including ancestor worship, human-centered religious activities, and mourning rituals, had endured for generations. His quest into the past was a search for roots, which he saw as rooted in humanity's most fundamental yearning for belonging and communication. He believed in the power of culture as a whole. In his opinion, the fact that ancient practices had lost their vibrancy did not reduce their future potential for revival. Indeed, Confucius had such a strong sense of history that he considered himself a conservator responsible for continuing the cultural ideals and social standards that had worked so successfully for the idealized civilization of the Western Zhou dynasty. While Confucius gave Confucianism its name, he was not the first to address many of its fundamental principles. Instead, he is someone who is concerned with the preservation of traditional Chinese knowledge from past philosophers. Following Confucius's death, some of his pupils collated and continued his work. The most prominent of these followers were Mencius and Zunzi, who both advanced Confucian thinking. There is a debate on whether Confucianism is a religion. What do you think? Sound like blasphemy, right? Well, no, because it's not. It's actually quite different than you'd imagine. Although it started as a revival of an earlier religious tradition, it is best understood as an ethical guide to life with strong character. Temples of Confucianism exist, but there are no Confucian gods, and Confucius himself is worshipped as a spirit rather than a god. Community and civic rituals take place in these temples. But the debate continues. Is Confucianism a religion or a philosophy? Confucianism is a highly influential philosophy that emphasizes the cultivation of moral character. This emphasis on personal growth is believed to have far-reaching effects as it promotes cosmic harmony and fosters peace and benevolence. In fact, the moral perfection of the emperor is thought to have a direct impact on the world around them. At the same time, conflict and natural disasters are often the result of people straying from the ancient teachings of Confucianism. One of the critical virtues emphasized in this philosophy is Ren, or humanity, which encourages altruistic, respectful, and humble behavior. Education is seen as a crucial tool in instilling these values, as Confucius believed that people are inherently good but may need guidance to stay on the right path. Confucian rituals help to promote a sense of community and respect, with the family serving as the cornerstone of this ethical system. As a result, it expanded to other East Asian nations under the influence of Chinese literate culture, which has tremendously impacted spiritual and political life. The ideas and actions of Confucianism permanently affected East Asian government, culture, education, and family structures. Confucian ethical norms have been a source of inspiration and a court of appeal for human interaction between individuals, groups, and nations throughout the Sinitic world for more than 2,000 years, even though it is an exaggeration to term traditional Chinese life and culture Confucian. But after Confucius passed, things began to take a new turn. The philosophy he once knew began to evolve further, the evolution of Confucianism. According to Han Feizi, who died 233 BCE, immediately after Confucius's death, his disciples divided into 8 independent schools, each claiming to be the genuine successor to the Confucian tradition. Each school was most likely related to or inspired by one or more of Confucius's disciples. Nonetheless, the Confucians had little impact in the 5th century BCE, although Reverend Yan Yuan, faithful Zhengzi, talented Zhaigong, erudite Zixia, and others inspired great enthusiasm among Confucius's second generation of students. It was not clear at the time that the Confucian tradition would emerge as the most powerful in Chinese history. Mencius was an early Chinese philosopher who established orthodox Confucianism, earning him the title Second Sage. Among his main principles was a focus on rulers' need to provide for the ordinary people. Mencius excelled as a social critic, moral philosopher, and political activist. He contended that establishing a class of scholar officials who would not be actively involved in agriculture, industry, or trade was critical to the state's well-being. In his brilliant argument against the physiocrats, those who sought agricultural domination, he cleverly used the division of labor to defend those who labor with their wits, remarking that service is just as vital as output. To him, Confucians served the state's fundamental interests as intellectuals by embracing the task of teaching the ruling minority humane administration, Renjiang, and the kingly path, Qingdao, rather than becoming bureaucratic employees. Mencius acted as a political consultant and a teacher of monarchs while dealing with feudal lords. Mencius stated unequivocally that a natural person cannot be corrupted by riches, subjugated by authority, or influenced by poverty. To him, Confucians served the state's fundamental interests as intellectuals by embracing the task of teaching the ruling minority humane administration, Renjiang, and the kingly path, Wangdao, rather than becoming bureaucratic employees. Mencius acted as a political consultant and a teacher of monarchs while dealing with feudal lords. Mencius stated unequivocally that a natural person cannot be corrupted by riches, subjugated by authority, or influenced by poverty. Yang Ju, on the other hand, argued for the primacy of the self and the nutrition, yang, of one's nature, xing, rather than investing time and energy in societal issues and institutions that, according to Yang, violated that nature. Yang Ju became notorious among Confucians for claiming he would not sacrifice even one eyelash to rescue the world. He concludes that people all too frequently waste their lives in the service of societal systems that work against their best interests. Mencius, an excellent Confucian who saw the family as the natural prototype of social structure, argued that excessive self-interest would lead to political chaos. Indeed, Mencius claimed that under Mohi's collectivism, fatherhood is rendered meaningless, as is kingship in Yang Ju's individualism. According to Mencius, Employing moral language to redefine the concepts of profit, self-interest, wealth, and power is imperative. He strongly advised feudal lords to prioritize the welfare of the community rather than their own individual interests, as this would ultimately safeguard their wealth and power. According to Mencius, extending benevolence, Ren, protects families. He believed that the people were more important than the state and that the state was more important than the king. Mencius insisted that an unfit ruler should be criticized, rehabilitated, or deposed, and revolution is justifiable in severe cases. He believed realizing the potential of our hearts enables us to understand our nature and know heaven. Cultivating human sensitivity is necessary to be fully human and experience the cosmos. Mencius taught that despite biological and environmental constraints, everyone has the spiritual resources to deepen self-awareness, strengthen bonds, and refine their heaven-endowed nobility. But aside from the evolution of Confucius's philosophy, his life lessons remain evergreen and relevant up until this day. Although we have mentioned some previously, there's still a whole lot that you need to be aware of. Many people have pondered life's big questions. Where do we come from? Where do we go? What's the point of it all? If Confucius could build a great nation in ancient times, what could he have achieved today? Comment below. Also, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel to see more videos like this. Bye for now.